a beautiful Saturday morning, and look at there. Alright, let's go on in, and but you know, it's probably going to come as a shock to y'all, but I kind of need to clean up the workbench here a little bit. The young man's been doing stuff. I ain't been doing very much, but here's a project I wasn't planning on doing. I took Mama out for a date in this thing last night, and when I come home it was leaking green, so gotta put a new radiator in it. I called down to the parts store. I said, got an 89 Pontiac Trans Am, need a radiator. He said, oh, what, a Grand Am? No, Trans Am. He said, interesting, I've never heard of that before. Guess that means I'm getting old. Anyways, I'm gonna quit blabbering, pull this apart. Well, there's the offending rascal. What had happened was, plastic tank there, it split the bond while I was out trying to bond. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? That radiator appears to have been in the small collision when it was in, in the shop at the dealership. A little tweaked, but I got a new one just like it, plastic tanks and all. It made it since 1989, and maybe that one will make it half that or something like that. Had to order an air filter. Look at that. It's not good. It wasn't sealed that great right there, was it? Looks like it got hung on that little lip. It's kind of a crappy air filter system, but it's what it is. Alright, now to put it together and clean up the green. Alright, it's all together. Let's see if it'll run. I bet it will. I bet it will. What in the heck? I better see what's in the fan. That's what's in the fan. The little clippy is broke there, and that wire is laying on the fan. Alright, now let's see what happens. I bet it happens better. Well, it runs, but I had the battery disconnected. I guess that's why I acted like that. Well, I think I'll back her outside and let it warm up. Alright, it appears to be a non-leaker, so that's good. I'm going to take it down and pressure wash it good. Mama's cutting the grass, you can probably hear that. You know, it is springtime here in North Carolina. I think this car's ready for the big drag race next weekend. I'm going to take it and run it. Now I need to pull the Firebird up here. I'm going to put traction bars on it and new spring pads, which shouldn't take too long. Shouldn't take too long. And hopefully I can find a driver for that car, but we'll see. We'll see how she goes. I may or may not take that Firebird. Alright, I decided this one's going to the drag race for sure, so better work on it first. This thing needs a new fuel filter. I drove around a little bit yesterday and this morning. If you stand on her very long, she dies. Indicative of a fuel filter. So I'm going to change that. And to be honest, Mrs. Heavy Shever never has exactly figured out the choke and floods it occasionally. I think we got some plugs that could use a change. Could use changed. That used to be a $8 affair. Now it's like 25 bucks. But when you need to check the fluids, for some reason that transmission drips just a little bit, and I gotta fix the squeaky brakes in the front. And she's also told me that radio thingamajig I put in there don't work no more, so I gotta see if that's junk or what. Now I put this 2 air filters on here whenever I built this truck, just for conversation purposes. But it is kind of dumb, so. And it looks like it's time for a new, so I'm going to get rid of that feature. By the way, if you have one of these hot rod style air cleaners on your ride and you're having trouble finding out what the part number for the air filter is, a 2095 Napa works. Now this truck does not have a Mr. Heavy Chevy built Q-Jet. It's got an Edelbrock, which is kind of grungy. Yeesh. But it works good. I think I paid 40 bucks for it at the auto fair, maybe. Yeah, I wish I could find a few more of them. But if I don't, I think I'm gonna be okay. Now you gotta watch these old trucks. Oh Lord, she's stuck in the mud. That's the way of it. As I was saying, the hood hinges get weak and they'll sag while you're working up under there. And then when you stand up, you'll bang your head on the hood that was lower than it was when you stuck your head under there. But that's another story. This is the fuel filter. We might cut it up and see what it looks like in there. Now Daisy there ain't no kind of help at all. She just kind of lays there looking at me. See her? Right? She just lay there looking at me. Now these things filter from the inside out, so yeah, she's pretty nasty down there in the pleats. See that? Yep, time for new. I hope I got what?
Oh, it's a spider.
Where?
Oh my gosh! Get it off me, please!
Where?
Right there! Get it!
It's just a spider, for Pete's sake. She saved that. That's theater.
What? You were filming that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I almost died.
Spider. She's stuck. That's crazy.
Spider, Daisy. Oh my gosh, and it was on me.
She's stuck. Well, I ain't got one. It's the long filter, which is a Napa 3052. Thought I had one, but I don't. So I'm going to have to get one. Let me pull some plugs and see what they look like. What'd you do to your spark plugs here?
I didn't do anything to them.
You wore them out.
I guess I did.
That right there is 1, 3, 5, 7, and those are perfect. Look at that color. Tan. The gap's a little wide, looks like.
Why is that?
And there's 2, 4, and I dropped 6 and 8.
Where'd you drop 8?
I mean, 6. But 2's got a little bit of stuff built up on it, but it's still tan. That cylinder might be burning a little oil or something. But that's pretty good, but they are worn, so we're going to have to put new spark plugs in it.
Why such a large gap?
Huh?
Why is there such a large gap?
Well, partly because it's worn.
Oh.
It should be 45, I think. I'll have to double check. But we'll put new plugs in it. It needs new plugs, a new fuel filter, and an air filter. Well, some of y'all remember a couple years ago I put this deal in, Bluetooth thing up under the seat, but it's a piece of junk. If you wiggle the wire one way, it'll spark for a minute, and then there won't be no sound, and it'll pick up Bluetooth, but I had it working once or twice, but there's no bad connections or anything. It's inside the thing. So I think what I'm going to do is order a new, better one and hit this one with a hammer. Alright, got all the new spark plugs in it. I happen to have them on hand. It calls for R45 TS apparently, which was a surprise to me. But it does have the high performance, world renowned, super rare 7H1 kerosene burner heads on it. So we got that. I put a quart of oil in it. I cleaned the carburetor a little bit. New air filter. I'm going to put the cover on it. And then I'm going to jack it up and see if I can fix the brakes squeaking. Now you may say, why isn't he going to put it on the lift? Well, it's too low to put on the lift real easy. You got to jack it up to get it on a lift or either drive it up on some boards, which I don't happen to have, so I'm just going to jack it up. That's all. Alright, as promised, I jacked it up, took the wheel off. And see there, I think that's why my brakes are squeaking. Looks like the pad's got about a half-life. It'd be a shame to put new ones on. Let me decide what I'm up to here. Well, I said I wasn't going to put brake pads on it, but I got to looking here, you know. They kind of cracked. That's not good. They done wore through the anti-squeak stuff. I think, and they're almost wore out, a little more than half, so it's time for new. They don't cost that much. They might in 6 months though. This stuff is going crazy. So I got to run to town and pick up an air filter for the Trans Am. I may as well get the brake pads while I'm at it. May as well. So we're off getting parts. Look, you got a sticker on there that says nope, he's not going to paint flowers on it. You know, it's getting warm. You could show me them pretty knees. The camera won't focus. It's so light. It'd be boring if I filtered everything I said. We weren't talking about my chicken legs. Alright, we're back home with the AC blowing cold. We're parking where we're not supposed to, and we're going to fix that truck. Alright, see all that? Those are Bradford pear pedals, which are stuck to the truck because we put linseed oil on it the other day, and linseed oil stays kind of sticky for a little bit. And then it got windy, and the pedals stuck to it, so it's kind of cool, I guess, in a weird way. But anyways, I got the brakes done, and now it's time to set it on the ground and shut the hood and take it for a ride. Well, first thing I notice is she runs a lot smoother with the new plugs. So, let me try it. Well, there's no more squeakies in the brakes. And it runs pretty good. And don't handle bad. I do believe it was a successful project today. Alright, now on to the next one. Alright, now before I go dig the other one out, I'm going to put away the tools I had out for these last two projects, and maybe even sweep the floor. Oh yeah, I didn't give you a temperature check. What is it? It's like 76. Sweltering. What are you doing, Harley? Harley.